Hello, how are you doing today, my dear friends? This is Edith Newmeyer, and I want to do a video today on the mark of the beast. Now, I have done several videos where I do have addressed this mark of the beast, but there's just still so many questions, and people always assume and assume and assume. Okay, and I want to really look at at the scripture today to maybe figure out what the Bible really says about this mark of the beast, and maybe what people assume, or I think assume is a good word. Now let's start with the very first one. I think people are still very confused, and I know they are. It's not that I'm thinking it, but I see it over and over again. People are very confused about when this mark will actually be implemented. Okay? And who is implementing this mark? And so let's look at this first. Who is going to implement the mark? Which I think is very important. I think everybody should think it is very important to know who is implementing this mark. Now, what do most people believe? They believe this Antichrist is going to implement it. Now, remember, I want to stick with Bible truth. And in the Bible, we do not have an Antichrist implementing the mark of the beast. Okay, we don't. If you have done some studies about the Antichrist, you should know that the only place we find that word Antichrist is in 1st and 2nd John. And you can look that up. I'm not even going to tell you exactly where it is. Read 1st and 2nd John, and you will see that's the only place where you can find that word Antichrist. Why? Because, of course, it's a false doctrine. Now, not the word Antichrist. That is actually in 1st and 2nd John. But the definition that people filled this word with, that this Antichrist is a ruler at the end, okay, during the 7 years. No, okay? And, of course, also this belief that this Antichrist is going to give that mark of the beast. That's false. Matter of fact, well, let's look at where we can find who is giving the mark of the beast. Now, you may know Revelation 13. In Revelation 13, John talks about two beasts. The first beast is the beast out of the sea. Okay? And the second beast, which starts in verse 11, is talking about the second beast coming out of the earth. Okay, so two beasts. Now, the first beast, chronologically, is the first as well. It is a beast out of the sea. And when we compare this beast out of the sea with the beasts that Daniel saw in Daniel 7, then that is the beast, the last beast that Daniel saw. Daniel says that that last beast will last until Jesus returns, and Jesus will destroy that beast. Okay? So that beast is around until the end. What does that mean? That beast is in existence right now. And it has been in existence since the time of John, even before the time of John. We know that it was, or that it is, the Roman Empire. But most of us were taught in school that the Roman Empire fell. Well, the cultural, the historical Roman Empire fell. But the biblical empire did not fall. This beast out of the sea, this last beast, did not fall. It grew 10 horns. And those 10 horns were the ones that kept the beast alive. And so it has been alive for 2,000 years. And I don't want to get into I probably have to in order to understand what the mark of the beast is. But this beast out of the sea, again, came out of the Roman Empire. And it had 10 horns, And many people are very confused about these 10 horns. They came out as soon as this historical Roman Empire fell. Okay? That's when these horns came out, and they continued really to keep this beast alive. It was not, the typical Roman Empire anymore, but it had a lot of characteristics of this Roman Empire. So these 10 horns are the 10 European kingdoms that came out after this, what would you call it? Old Roman Empire fell. And in the middle, what came out in the middle? A little horn that ruled all of them. Okay? That little horn in the middle is papacy. We don't have to argue over that, because papacy came out. It's a strange kingdom, the smallest kingdom. It's a strange kingdom, and it ruled all of the 10 horns. So that is what this beast out of the sea is. It is a political system. Okay? Political system. But the little horn on top is really a combination of political and religious. It's really more defined really by religion. We see that when we go to Revelation 17, we see what? We see Babylon the Great now sitting on the beast, and that's the little horn. Okay? You should make a connection with that. What else sits on the beast? Okay? And controls the beast out of the sea. Of course, it is papacy, and it is this whore, Babylon the Great. When Babylon the Great is described, you know exactly that it is papacy. I mean, you go to Revelation 17, it is described exactly. You cannot nobody can tell me it is anybody else. Okay? No. So we have the first beast, now we have the second beast. But this first beast does not make the mark of the beast. Okay? So many believe that this first beast with the whore on top, the little horn, that is the man of sin. Okay? The man of sin is the horn and the whore. That's the man of sin. If you read the description, it is exactly that. Okay? But that beast system, which is a political, does not give make the mark of the beast. Why? By the time the beast out of the earth comes around, this first empire is almost doesn't have any more very much power, except who's sitting on top. Okay? The whore. The whore still has quite a lot of power. Quite a lot of power. Because she ruled all the 10 kingdoms which she brought down. So she ruled them. But they don't have very much power anymore. They now became part of the beast out of the earth. Or should I say, the beast out of the earth became part of that first beast? It's kind of hard to say. So this beast out of the earth is the one who makes us take the mark. Okay? So we can see the description. A mouth utters proud words of blasphemies, and to exercise its authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to blaspheme God, to slander his name, his dwelling place, and those who live in heaven. It was given power to wage war against God's holy people. Oh, wait a minute, that's still the first beast. Sorry, I'm thinking, wait a minute, that doesn't describe the second beast. No, we have to go to 11. That was description of the first beast, which is exactly right, because they blasphemed God, they killed the saints. The whole system, not only papacy on top, but papacy used the political kingdoms to actually exercise this killing of the saints. They were killed by the countries, okay? Local authorities. That's what it is. So now we go to the second beast, starting in verse 11. Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb. Two horns like a lamb. So it was innocent, but it spoke like a dragon. Does that sound like the United States? Yeah. Okay. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf. So it had just as much authority in behalf of the first beast. Think what happened after the First and Second World War. Who all of a sudden became the person or the country in charge of the world, especially of Europe? Who became in charge of Europe, really? It was the United States. United States, formed the NATO, and they were the ones that were protecting Europe and were really using, or in behalf of them, they were exercising authority. So they got also the authority, of course, from these European countries that now are really not so powerful anymore. Okay? So because of the signs, he is giving power to do signs, and it is performed against signs, even causes fire to come down from heaven in full view of people. Now, what do you think that is? I believe that is really the bombs that the United States and the Allies and the whole world has right now. They have power to bring down fire, all of them, not just this beast, okay? Now, can you imagine for somebody during John's time what kind of power that was, when you can bring down power from heaven? During that time, they didn't even have any cannons or anything, and all of a sudden somebody has power to bring down fire from heaven. Well, that's what it is, okay? So don't wait for any more miracles or whatever. So this beast out of the sea, out of the earth, which is also a political power, okay? It's a political power. It's an empire. Okay? Do some studies if you don't know that in Daniel 7. All these beasts are empires, and this beast is an empire. And what empire do we have today? We're at the end times. What empire do we have? The United States. Okay? That's the empire we have today. There's no other empire. There will be no other empire. There's not enough time. It took the United States 200 years to become an empire. Okay? Really, 200 years. And I have done videos about that and who helped them to get to get this into power. Okay? So I don't need to go into this detail. Matter of fact, I think my last video you should be watching, that said it clearly. So because of the sign, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. It deceived. That's what's happening today. We are being deceived all over the world. Okay? Make no mistake. This is a great deception. 9/11 was already a great deception. Okay? And it deceived the whole world to believe that some terrorists brought down the Twin Tower. Yeah, they were terrorists, of course, but not the terrorists that our government said it was. Okay? If you want to do some research in that, do some research. Okay? So anyways, so they did great things and they deceived the inhabitants of the earth. And we are in another deception right now. This corona pandemic is a false pandemic, and it is a deception of who? This beast out of the earth. Okay? This beast out of the earth. That's what we're having today. No, it's not all the United States. It's even more than United States. United States is an empire. It rules the world right now. Yeah, it may not look exactly, but it does. Who is the World Health Organization? It is not anything that came out of any other countries. It is, most people on there are Americans that are running that place. So here we go. So given power to perform on behalf of the first beast, it deceives the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image. It ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. So that is the first beast. Who is again the first beast? The first beast is Europe. Okay, Europe. Now, is the first beast wounded like Europe was wounded and came back alive? Because right now, kind of Europe came back alive. Is it talking about the Pope who was wounded in 1700? He was actually taken out of, his kingdom was taken away from him, but he came back again and his kingdom was back established. It probably is a combination because papacy is on top of the beast. This beast out of the sea, out of the sea, which is the European, Roman European kingdom with, of course, the whore on top. Yeah. And those, that's what they're talking about. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. So what kind of image are we bowing down to? Who is the beast? It's a political system. So the image is an image that is made in place of a political system. Okay? Or does it have also something to do with the beast on top? Okay? So what could that be? The image of a political system could be the money. Could be, it could be the money. So make an image. It could be, anything. Something on TV. We have right now the opportunity. We have now the possibility or the means to have images on TV and they speak. And so it's very easy to do this today. So they made an image. If you don't worship the image, you cannot buy or sell. Okay? What is that image that represents this first beast, which is the political system? A beast is a political system. It's not talking about anything about the whore on top. It's a political system. And what's specific is something that represents that first beast. Okay? Anything, if it is something, let me see. So the first image can speak and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. So really here, he's not saying that you get killed because you have the mark. But of course, that's going to be a second one. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand and their forehead. So there's a combination of worshiping the image and receiving a mark. So there's a combination. Now, can I speculate what that could be? We only know that you can buy and sell. So it has to be connected to buying and selling, which is connected to what? A currency. Okay? A trade, a means of trading. Okay? So yeah, that's definitely what you can say. So this mark and the image is just you bowing down to the system. That's all it says. And the image, of course, is something that is visible. Okay, that is visible to the authorities, to government, to the stores, whoever you're doing business with, that you are going to receive, and then that you have bowed down to that system. Make no mistake, It's a bowing down to a system, to a political system. They're using here worship, but bowing down to a political system is the same thing. So you be aware, okay? You be very aware of that you are going to bow down to a political system, a beast. It could be in combination with some religion, but I don't see it that way. I see more it has something to do with politics. And of course, you don't bow down to this political system, then you will not, get this mark, okay? Because people cannot buy and sell if they don't get the mark. Now, here's which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. Okay, so that's what the number is. So you can come up with all kinds of things. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. Okay, but remember, beast is not one man. Beast is a system. But still it is the number of a man, okay? So the number of a man is probably something we need to think about. That number is 666. So it's a name, okay? The system is treated like a person. That's all I can say. But let's continue, because this is not the only thing that we're going to look at. Now we're going to look at, so here we already see that this second beast is really making sure that we're getting this this mark. The first beast didn't, and the first beast existed before the second beast and is still alive during the time of the second beast. Okay, so it's still alive, so they're both there. So the first beast is the European countries with the whore on top. That's the first beast. The second beast is really a minor beast because it bows down to that first beast. And of course, to whoever's sitting on top, which is papacy. Okay? And I talked about it so many times. And I talked about, this beast out of the earth quite a lot too. So we know that this beast is right now around right now. And this beast, both beasts will be around until the wrath of God. So it will still be around. We see that in 2 Thessalonians 2. We know that this man of sin came about before the rapture and before the wrath of God. And they both will go into the wrath of God because that is who causes. The wrath of God was really created to bring down this beast system. So now let's go to Revelation 14, because that's where we learn again then that this happens, or that this beast and these people who have the mark will be destroyed during what? The wrath of God. So let's read that one, because lots of people, they don't understand that the rapture happens, the taking out of the bride happens before the wrath of God. It happens right at the beginning of the day of the Lord, or the second coming of Christ. He takes his bride out and then he destroys his enemies, which is of course the beast and the people who bow down to the beast. Okay? So we see that in Revelation 14, and then we go to 9. And a third angel followed them and said in a loud voice, if anyone worships, here we go, if anyone worships the beast and its image and receives its mark on their forehead or on their head. See, this is why people think the beast is giving that mark, but the second beast is giving the mark. Okay, it's the empire that comes after the first empire. And that is the beast out of the earth, which is the United States Empire. Now, you can believe that or not, I don't care, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so a third angel fell, and if anyone worships the beast and its image and receives its mark on its forehead or on its hand, they too will drink the wine of God's fury, which has been poured in full strength into the cup of his wrath. Now you want to know, well, they will be tormented with burning sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. Okay? So this is not only that they will go into God's wrath, they will suffer God's wrath, they will also go into, of course, the lake of fire. Now, where can we find God's wrath poured out on Babylon the Great? We can find that in Revelation 18. So go to Revelation 18, and I'm not going there because I've done that just recently, and read what's happening to Babylon the Great, which is the beast, okay, what sits on the beast, what's really right now still ruling the beast, okay? That is the whore, or Babylon the Great. And she rules them, she controls them, okay? It's not so obvious anymore. It used to be obvious, very obvious before the Reformation. It was very obvious that the Vatican ruled all the kings of Europe. Okay, it's not very obvious anymore. They went underground. So, but anyways, so you go to Revelation 18 and read what the punishment is for the whore. Okay, because that will be the same punishment for the people who bow down to her. Okay, who bowed down and took the mark because they bowed down to the system, which is a political and religious system. Most people say, well, I'm not belonging to the Roman Catholic Church. Yes, you don't, but maybe you're bowing down to the political system that she is using. Okay, very possible. What's happening today is the beginning of that control, of that totalitarian control. If you've been watching my videos, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so when will this happen? This is happening during the wrath of God. Okay, so these people that have the mark of the beast will go through the wrath of God. And that's why I believe, okay, and there's some speculation there. If you use your logical thinking, maybe you get to the same point that I am getting to. That's why I believe during this time is when the mark is going to be implemented, during the wrath of God. So the saints will be gone. Now, saints, I hope you understand what I'm talking about saints, okay, or bride of Christ, or the temple of Jesus, okay, body of Christ. You have to be connected to Christ in order to be his bride, his temple, the saints. If you're not connected to Jesus, you're not following him, if you're just saying, well, he died for me, okay, that's it, then you're not connected. So this is very important, and I'm going to say that every time. You have to be connected to Jesus. You have to follow him. And in order to follow him, you need to read the Bible. And you need to follow the instructions of God, not your own. It has nothing to do with your own wants, desires, or whatever. It has something to do with following Jesus, your Lord, waiting for him patiently every day, that he will come very, very soon. If you're living your own life in this world and you don't want to hear anything about his return, then I don't think you are really following him. Because every true believer, every saint should be waiting patiently for his or her bridegroom's return. But let's go back because I am not done. So we have now Revelation 14 that tells us these people who have the mark of the beast, okay, will go and drink from the same wrath and fury that Babylon the Great is drinking from. They too will drink the wine of God's fury, which has been poured in full strength into the cup of his wrath. Now, we heard in Revelation 18 that Babylon the Great should get twice as much as she has given out to the saints. She has killed the saints. She has spilled the blood of the saints, and she's supposed to receive twice as much. You belong her. I mean, that's why God said, come out of her, my people. Okay? Because you're supposed to be leaving her totally. You're not supposed to follow her in any way or even the system. Now we see this in verse 8. Again, fallen is Babylon the Great. Okay? That's where you find it. Which made all nations drink the maddening wine of her adultery. All right? That's where we see it. In verse 14, 8. Fallen is ground which made all nations drink of the maddening wine of her adultery. And a third angel followed them and said, the Lord, if anyone worships the beast and its image. See, why is he mentioning the beast? Well, because Babylon the Great sits on the beast and controls the beast. It's one. Babylon the Great is one with the beast. Okay, one with the beast. So if we worshiping that system, and Babylon the Great is not going to, has not said, oh, hey, I am the Antichrist. Never said that. Oh, I am Babylon the Great. No, Vatican has never said that. But that's who they are. You remember that book that I introduced, 50 Years in the Church of Rome? And I will put it a link again on the bottom. So 50 Years in the Church of Rome by Charles Chiniquy. So you should be looking at that book, because that book will tell you exactly who Babylon the Great is. It will tell you exactly who Babylon the Great is. There is no there can be no mistake who it is. Okay? So I believe, because of this, I believe that this will happen, of course, during the wrath. Okay? That the people who took the mark are killed also during, or will receive the wrath, because they followed and bow down to the system. And it is a system. Okay? It is a system that we're having today. And who is going to implement it? It is the beast out of the earth who will push it and implement it. Okay? Because they need police. And police is what? Police is a political system, has the police. So that's what they need to do. That's what the Roman Catholic Church did during the Inquisition years, or before the time of the Reformation. They used the police of every country to kill the Christians. If they didn't, they would not receive, they would not have their kingdom anymore. That's the bottom line. So now we have one more, actually two more. So now let's go to 16, because in 16 we see again that during the wrath of God, these people who received the mark have boils. Okay, again we're talking about the wrath of God. So in 16 we see the 7 bowls of God's wrath. And the first thing that happens is that the people who had the mark of the beast will get ugly, festering sores. Okay, so ugly, festering sores will break out on them. Those who have the mark of the beast and worship its image. So both of them, the mark of the beast and worshiping its image. Again, make no mistake. Some people think it's a Sunday law. I don't know if it's Sunday law or not. Okay, but it's worshiping the system. It's bowing down to a system that is controlling them. What do we have today, people? We're going towards that. We're being controlled. We're wearing masks. We're already initiated. Wearing masks is an occult practice. And it is part of the initiation, and we're being initiated. Right now, we're being initiated into this new system. We're going to have a new normal, okay? And this is the first part, initiation. You keep your mouth shut, and you worship the system. And they made it, they scared people so much that they will bow down and worship the system, because the system is going to tell them that they're going to be safe if they bow down to the system. Because people are scared to death. Okay? That's how people will accept the mark of the beast. Because they're scared to death. They're afraid to die. Because they don't have any hope. When I die, I know I will go to heaven. I will be with Jesus. As a soul, of course. Right? Until Jesus returns and I get a new body. So, now let's look at the last one. See, this is why I think it's going to happen during the wrath. There's one more that I'm going to look at to show clearly that this mark is going to be administered during the wrath. Okay? We go to Revelation 20. And in Revelation 24, this is what we see. I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge. Who are those? Read Daniel 7 again. Okay? Jesus is not the only one who will defeat the beast and then reign. It is also his bride. The saints are also having authority to judge with Jesus. And they will sit on thrones. There's not just one throne, there are more thrones. And these are the people who sit on the thrones. Jesus and his bride. They sit on thrones. And they have authority to judge. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony about Jesus, because of the word of God. Okay. And they had not worshipped the beast or its image, and had not received its mark on their forehead or their hand. Okay? Now they came again alive. But right there, they're souls. Okay? They're souls. Now, they only came alive. They were not changed in a twinkling of an eye. Why not? Because they're not sitting on the thrones. They were not taken out before the wrath of God. They came alive after the wrath of God. So what does that mean? They had they didn't receive the image. When? During the wrath of God. During the wrath of God. Is that clear or not clear? It should be clear. So what is the conclusion of what I just told you? The conclusion is that if you belong to Jesus, you follow him, you have the Holy Spirit, and you're taken out before the wrath of God, you don't have to worry about the mark. That's what I'm telling you. Right now, we have to be concerned about it. Okay? But I don't think right now they're pushing this mark. I think they may start. I think we're going into now a transition phase. See, they're starting with the mask, so everybody gets used to it. And then they use something else. Okay? Because they're going to use all kinds of excuses and deceptions to get you to believe and to accept this mark. They're not going to prance out there and say, oh, this is the mark of the beast. Okay? And think about it. The church will be gone. So there's not going to be very many people left that even know about the mark of the beast. Most people are going to laugh. Most people are already compliant with the government. And the people who are left behind, who may still believe in Jesus, right? But didn't have the Holy Spirit. They're either going to fall for this deception, or they will continue to not accept it, and then they will be resurrected after the wrath. Okay? Who is going to judge them? Tells you right here. The saints. They're sitting on thrones. Who else do you think is sitting on thrones? I've asked so many people about that verse. Okay? Who is sitting on the thrones? I saw thrones on which were seated those who had been given authority to judge. who was given authority to judge? It was the saints. Matter of fact, you can find that probably someplace in the Gospels, okay, that we have been given authority to judge. So it's simple. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded. The souls, they died. They died during the wrath of God. Okay? It says they got the image. I mean, they didn't receive and didn't worship the image. Didn't get a mark. And they will be resurrected, but only resurrected with a body. They will not be changed in a twinkling of an eye. Their body will be a human body because they will be living here on this earth. The bride will be living in the New Jerusalem, okay, which will be on this earth, but it will be a totally different place. It will be the dwelling place of Jesus and the bride, and that's where they reign. From there, they reign over this whole earth. But I'm coming to an end. I hope that helps. If you have any questions again about this mark, I mean, I make videos, and I see right now, and these are speculations though on my part, I can see where this vaccine may end up or be used for that mark. Because many things, this mark has to be irretrievable. I'm going to say it right now. That's what I believe. This mark has to be irretrievable. Once you receive the mark, there is no return. Now, if you get a chip, can you pull the chip out? Yeah, unless it changes your DNA. Then you cannot, it doesn't help you anything. So if they put something in your body that changes who you are as a human being, okay? And maybe that's important to say too, because that is my speculation. And I haven't seen anything, related to that in the Bible. But that's what I really believe, that once you accept the mark, you cannot take it back. Okay? So any implant can be taken out. But if it changes your body, your DNA, I don't believe that you are going to be capable of being saved any longer. Remember the time before Noah, and that's why Jesus mentioned that. The time before Noah, the reason God destroyed the earth was because the people's DNA was changed by the intermarrying of the angels with the human beings. And that's how the Nephilims came about, and the giants. But it also totally changed the DNA of humankind. And only Noah and his family DNA was not totally changed, and God could actually use them after the flood to continue humankind. And that's what it's going to be again like at the end. There is not going to be any more humankind left, I think. I mean, that's again speculation. Let me know what you think about that. But I'm coming to an end. But what I talked to you, what I just read about the mark is what the Bible tells us. There is no, it's a chip, or it's this, or it's that. It's all speculation. But you have to be, one thing is clear. These people are deceived that will take the mark. And make no mistake, when you are deceived, okay, you don't know what you're doing. This is what's happening today. People are deceived with this mask, and it's the first step, okay? These people know that they can control the masses right now. Look they're wearing a stupid mask that is not even protecting them. There is no really deadly virus. And these people are wearing masks because they think it's helping them. Now, what do you think the government, this beast out of the earth, the beast out of the sea, know? They know that they can continue to deceive the masses. What we read in Revelation 13, the beast out of the earth deceives the masses. Okay? Deceives the masses. Wake up, people. We are living in the end times. Jesus is returning very soon. Again, I want to remind you of the Feast of Trumpets, which is coming up here soon in 20 days. Be prepared. Be prepared. That's all I can tell you.